Hey everyone, welcome back to Yulon's channel. Today we'll be talking about our last stage in the long-term memory model, which is retrieval. And if you haven't watched my previous videos on AP psychology course, please do watch those ones because they're really helpful in building up the knowledge of psychology that you need for AP psychology, and also just like a general understanding of psychology as well. So yeah, just keep watching. Retrieval is the process of recalling information from memory such as feelings, images, and events. This is the last step in our memory process. We retrieve information non-stop, especially when taking an exam. There are several measures of retention. The first one is recall. Recall is the process of bringing information from stored memories into conscious awareness. When you remember things, you are recalling the memories. Filling the blank question tests your recall ability. The second one is recognition, which is when you notice something you learned previously. Rather than just simply recalling information, multiple choice exams require you to identify the information you have learned within the question and answer choices. The third measure is relearning. Relearning measures how much faster someone can learn material that has been previously learned and then forgotten. For example, at the beginning of your junior year, you had to remember the Gettysburg Address for your United States history class. It took you 4 hours to memorize the speech. At the end of the year, you had to relearn the speech. This time, you're able to memorize most of the content, probably in only 2 hours. So it took you half the time to relearn all the materials. There are many retrieval cues which help you to remember pieces of information. The more cues, the easier it is to remember something. So the first one is serial position effect. The serial position effect is how people tend to remember the information in a list that is mentioned first or last. The information mentioned in the middle is more forgotten, as shown in this picture as well. You can also split this up into recency effect and primacy effect. Recency effect is remembering the last thing that was said, whereas primacy effect is the opposite, and it's remembering the first thing that was said. There are a lot of mnemonic devices that you can use, and they enhance retention and memory. A mnemonic device is a tool that helps you remember an idea or phrase. An example of a mnemonic device could be RYGBIV, which is used to remember the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Inside the mnemonic device, your method of loci. Method of loci is in which a person memorizes information by placing each item to be remembered in different spatial locations. For example, let's say you want to remember this shopping list: eggs, milk, cheese, potatoes, and ice cream. You could use the method of loci to remember your list by placing these different items in different spots in your house and then walking around your house to remember the list. You could place the potato on the couch in your living room and emphasize it by having it lie down on the couch. There's also a peg word mnemonic, which is to put numbers and words together to help us memorize a scheme. This often rhyme like 1 sound, 2 shoes, 3 tree, 4 door, and 5 hive. Some other retrieval cues: tip of the tongue phenomenon. The temporary inability to remember information is called tip of the tongue phenomenon. It's the thing when you say something is on the tip of my tongue. This is explained with the semantic network theory. It states that our brain likes to form new memories by connecting its meanings to other existing memories and its meanings. In a sense, our brain creates an interconnected network of memories. So by trying to remember something, you get closer to it by listing its traits. Priming is the activation of memory by association. Here, one stimulus leads to the activation of another. There are also context-dependent memory. Sometimes what you remember depends on the state or position you are in. It is specifically remembering information on the same place we encoded it. For instance, if you study at your desk and take the test at your desk as well, you are more likely to do better. Another example is if you are studying and your pencil breaks and you need to go to another room to sharpen it. However, when you leave your room to go to the office, you forgot why you even went there. But then when you went back to your desk, you were like, oh, I had to sharpen my pencil. There are also state-dependent memory. This is what we learn in one state will be easier to recall in that same state. If someone is drunk and left their key somewhere, they probably won't remember where they sober up. However, if they get drunk again, they remember where they left their keys last time. Another memory retrieval cue is mood congruent memory, and this states that when humans store memories about an event, they don't just store the memory, they also store the emotion they felt at the same time along with the memory. Therefore, if you are sad, you will begin to recall unhappy events. If you are happy, you will begin to recall other happy events. Then we have constructive memory. You may have heard of something called a recovered memory phenomenon. It's when individuals suddenly remember events repressed for many years, often through therapies. While these memories can be true, some researchers like Elizabeth Loftus argues that this may be a false recollections of the past. Constructive memories can be false details of real events or a completely made-up event. In our second last retrieval cue, we'll talk about the spacing effect. It says that people learn material either easier and more effectively when it is studied several times over a long period of time rather than in a short period of time. And our last retrieval cue is testing effect. It says that you have an enhanced memory after retrieving information rather than rereading it. If you are studying for a test, you should never just read the content over and over again. Instead, you should actively recall the information. You've probably heard people say this a million times, but it's a real term in AP psychology. A few ways you could actively recall information and properly study are by making flashcards and writing review sheets out for yourself. So that's in our video today. Thank you for watching. And if you're interested in AP psychology and or psychology in general, watch this YouTube video series, and I'm sure you will learn a lot.